The story is set at Eloise, Paris, one of the most luxurious boutiques where wealth and power are not flaunted but present in every smallest detail. Stepping through the sparkling glass doors, customers are enveloped by the scent of expensive wood, intricate imported rugs, and soft golden lights illuminating exclusive outfits from prestigious brands. But beyond the glamour, Eloise, Paris is renowned for an unspoken rule. If you have to ask the price, this place isn't for you. And the one who ensures that rule is upheld is Helena, the boutique manager with eyes as sharp as a blade. Dressed in a perfectly tailored black dress and expensive high heels, she doesn't just sell clothes, she sells status. Helena prides herself on her ability to recognize who deserves to be there the moment they step inside. One quick glance is enough for her to judge and, if necessary, push the unworthy out of her territory. But in a world where vanity is worshipped like a religion, where every smile hides a dagger, Helena has no idea that on this very day, the seemingly ordinary woman who walked through those doors would bring her entire little kingdom crashing down. A storm is approaching, and Helena, despite her pride, could never have imagined that she would be the one to face the most devastating consequences. When the boutique's doorbell chimed softly, Helena immediately sensed an unwanted presence. A woman in a simple white hoodie, loose sweatpants, and a black cap that obscured most of her face stepped inside. To Helena, she was nothing more than a lost tourist, someone who would browse and leave without buying a thing. Helena's sharp gaze narrowed slightly. This place was not meant for people like her. Helena approached, each step deliberate. She smiled, a trained smile designed to mask disdain, and spoke in a sweet yet cutting tone. "We only display exclusive, custom-made designs. Perhaps you're looking for something simpler?" A seemingly polite statement that was actually a blade slicing straight into one's pride. But the woman remained unfazed. She smiled softly and replied. Her calm demeanor momentarily startled Helena, but only for a second. Helena signaled to her assistant, Clara, "Keep an eye on her." VAP clients whispered, their disdainful glances brushing over the out-of-place woman. But she was unhurried, her fingers confidently brushing over the expensive items when she picked up a black silk dress, a piece from the new collection with a price few dared to touch. Helena could no longer hold back. She approached, the fake smile still on her lips. "This dress requires a certain poise, a sense of refinement, and the right accessories." Her eyes lingered on the woman's simple outfit, the implication too obvious to miss. But then the woman merely smiled, a smile full of hidden meaning. "You think I don't understand?" Helena raised an eyebrow, replying, "Some people mistake this boutique for more ordinary places." The room seemed to freeze. Helena was certain she had won. But at that very moment, the woman's words left everyone stunned. Interesting, because when I walked in, no one offered me a glass of champagne. The room fell silent. Helena's face paled slightly as she realized her mistake, but it was already too late. The storm she never anticipated had just begun, and far worse was yet to come. Though momentarily shaken, Helena refused to lose control. She tried to maintain her composure, but her previously haughty eyes betrayed the growing anxiety within. When the woman turned to Clara, the silent assistant, and asked, "Do you think this dress would suit me?" Helena held her breath. After a moment's hesitation, Clara softly but firmly replied, "I think it would look stunning on you." That moment felt like a fatal blow. Anna could feel her grip on control slipping away. But Helena was never one to surrender easily. She stepped forward, her smile sharp as a blade. "If you really want to try on that dress, I'll have one of our staff assist you." The tone seemed polite, but the implication was clear. "If you insist on embarrassing yourself, I'll make sure the entire store witnesses it." Turning to Clara, she ordered, "Take this dress to the fitting room and find an appropriate size." The woman's smile deepened with hidden amusement. She understood every bit of Helena's mockery, but instead of anger she calmly responded, "Oh, you think I need a special size?" Helena stiffened, unprepared for how effortlessly she had been called out. VIP clients whispered, some chuckled, not out of cruelty, but because they knew the tide had just turned. And then Helena sealed her own fate. "There's a more affordable store 3 blocks away. Perhaps you'll find something that suits your style there." Silence consumed the room. The eyes that once judged the woman now turned sharply toward Helena. The woman chuckled softly. "Did you just suggest I go somewhere cheaper?" Helena nodded confidently. Luxury isn't for everyone. But what Helena feared most had just happened. The woman removed her sunglasses and the hushed whispers turned into gasps of shock. Sandra Bullock, a Hollywood icon, a symbol of power. Helena stood frozen, her arrogance crumbling into panic. And this was only the beginning, because the boutique doors were about to open once more, bringing in the nightmare Helena never saw coming. The soft chime of the boutique door echoed like a thunderclap in a storm. When Keanu Reeves walked in, every step he took seemed to make the air heavier. His long black coat swayed gently, and his calm but piercing gaze swept across the room. He didn't need to ask. He already knew. Helena froze. She felt Keanu's gaze piercing through her, a look that needed no words but carried undeniable judgment. Keanu stopped in front of Sandra Bullock and embraced her tightly. That moment felt like a dagger straight into Helena's pride. She knew there was no way out now. The VIP clients began whispering, their eyes filled with suspicion directed at her. But the final blow had yet to come. "I hope they treated you well, Sandra," Keanu asked softly, his tone dripping with sharp irony. Sandra chuckled lightly, replying, "Oh, they were truly unforgettable." Her words landed like a sledgehammer on Helena's dignity. Her face turned pale, lips trembling as she desperately tried to find an excuse but couldn't utter a word. Then, like a final verdict, a VIP client whispered, "If they treat Sandra Bullock this way, what about the rest of us?" Helena knew the game was over. But the true nightmare was just beginning. Helena's nightmare officially began. As the client's words echoed, the boutique buzzed with disdainful glances. She felt her world crumble beneath her feet. But the most horrifying moment arrived when her phone vibrated in her hand. A message from the store owner. "Helena, we have a serious problem. Call me immediately." Her heartbeat raced, and cold sweat trickled down her back. Before she could react, a VIP client stood up and said coldly, "I don't shop where customers are disrespected." The designer handbag swung gently with each resolute step, leaving Helena in shock. But it wasn't over yet. Another client added, "If she stays, I won't return." Each word cut through Helena's pride like a blade. And then came the final blow. Clara, the loyal assistant whom Helena had always belittled, removed her name tag, placed it on the counter, and said with a trembling yet firm voice, "I can't work in a place that disrespects people." Helena's breath caught, her eyes wide with despair. She had lost everything, the respect, the power, and the position she once prided herself on. Helena's nightmare had only just begun. Helena sat in her dark apartment, the dim glow of her phone screen illuminating the termination notice, clear as a death sentence. Her hands trembled as she opened social media, only to freeze in horror. The video of Sandra Bullock being humiliated had gone viral with 20 million views. Criticism poured in like an endless storm. "Arrogant manager gets what she deserves." Headlines flashed everywhere. Helena clutched her head, feeling her once mighty status collapse like a sandcastle against crashing waves. Meanwhile, at a quiet cafe across the city, Sandra and Keanu sat with Clara, the assistant once dismissed by Helena. "I have some friends who can help you start fresh," Keanu offered gently, leaving Clara both stunned and grateful. Sandra smiled warmly. "We always want to help those who deserve it." A message popped up, and Sandra read aloud, Helena has been fired. Keanu nodded, and Sandra whispered, "True power doesn't lie in luxury, but in how we treat people." Helena was now left with nothing but loneliness, learning a bitter lesson. Status can vanish in an instant, but dignity lasts forever. In the silent apartment, Helena slumped in her chair, empty eyes glued to her phone screen, where thousands of critical comments flooded in endlessly. Each line felt like a dagger to her pride. "Serves you right for looking down on others," and "hurts to fall from grace, doesn't it, Helena?" The doorbell rang suddenly, startling her. Who could it be at this hour? She opened the door to find Clara, her former assistant, once dismissed, now standing confidently. Clara placed an envelope on the table, her voice calm but sharp. "Thanks for firing me, Helena. I have a new job now. I just came to return what no longer belongs to me." Helena froze when she saw a job offer from a prestigious brand, one Clara had declined. "I chose a place that respects people," Clara smiled. The door closed, leaving Helena alone with the harsh truth. Her arrogance had cost her everything. Outside, Clara walked into the night, her eyes shining with hope, while Helena remained trapped in the darkness of her own making. Helena sat slumped in her chair, her mind swirling with humiliation. Clara, the quiet assistant behind the counter, had now held her head high, leaving Helena in the ruins of her arrogance. But as darkness engulfed her, a thought flickered. "I will come back, at any cost." Helena lunged for her computer, desperately trying to contact old connections, yet every email, every call was met with silent disdain. Just as Helena was about to break, an anonymous message popped up. "Want to come back? Follow my lead." Helena frowned, her heart pounding. Someone was offering her a chance. With nothing left to lose, she replied, "I'm ready." Meanwhile, Clara was enjoying coffee with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. Her phone vibrated, a message from an unknown number. "Be careful, Helena hasn't given up." Clara gripped her phone tightly, sensing the storm brewing. "She'll be back," Clara whispered. Keanu placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, softly saying, "If she comes back, we'll be ready." The battle between pride and integrity had only just begun. The story of Sandra Bullock and Helena at Eloise Paris offers valuable lessons for our everyday lives. First and foremost, it highlights the importance of treating everyone with respect, regardless of their appearance or perceived status. In a world often obsessed with wealth and power, it is easy to judge others based on superficial standards. However, this story reminds us that true value lies in one's character and actions, not material possessions. Another critical takeaway is the power of humility. Helena's arrogance led to her downfall, proving that pride and a lack of empathy can have dire consequences. In contrast, Sandra's calm demeanor and self-assuredness demonstrate that kindness and self-respect are far more powerful than arrogance. Additionally, the story emphasizes standing up against injustice. Clara's decision to leave her job due to unethical behavior serves as an inspiration for all of us to choose integrity over comfort. In life, we will face situations where our morals are tested, and it is essential to prioritize respect and dignity. Finally, the narrative teaches us that while status can be fleeting, how we treat people leaves a lasting impact. Let this story inspire us to be more compassionate, humble, and respectful in our daily interactions, ensuring that our actions uplift rather than belittle others.